What is going on, everybody? It has been. When was the last time we recorded?
Kevin Rudolph last episode.
That had to be
It was
March.
March, yeah. So we're took a little break for
It
the
has. So
off
it's been
season
4 months. The red shirts are back. College football is upon us, and I know we said we wouldn't take a break, but there was just not much to talk about. So here we are.
and if you're seeing our new surroundings here, we got a
We
nice
got
little
a little bit
setup
of
right
an
now.
upgrade here for 2023. I don't know if this is going to be an every episode thing, but for the big ones, we're going to try and step our way into the studio. But
For sure.
happy to be back. Happy to be talking some college football. We got a few things to talk about, a few fun things. Nothing really in terms of preview yet. We're gonna save that for the next few weeks, but I'm excited to be back.
Yeah, let's get right into it. I think we got
What
well,
did you what did you want to start with today?
I've been seeing this debate on Twitter a lot.
Hmm.
And I think about it a lot too because it's a fun thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about what could be the best college football team of all time. It's been going around Twitter like crazy. I think Barstool started it.
Well, we had this discussion about Georgia and LSU, just comparing the two of them. We didn't really put it in this perspective of like all the older teams. So when I was looking at this, I thought I was gonna say like the 2019 LSU, but I ended up looking at the '01 Hurricanes, and I think that's the simple go-to answer.
So there's five teams I wrote down that I'm just tossing out there into the
I
conversation.
wrote down three, so let's
Yeah.
see what we
So
let's see if we got the same.
first one I put down in no order. I put out the 2018 Clemson Tigers.
I didn't write them down.
I think that team was about as dominant as a team had been. They beat Bama 44-16
That
in
was
the national
Lawrence's
title.
first year.
Lawrence's, I guess it was, right? Because he was
Yeah,
drafted in 2020.
that was his
Lawrence's
first
first
year.
year. They had a ton of talent. The defense was unbelievable, undefeated. And I think in terms of modern teams, they're up there.
In terms of the modern, it's them, Georgia. It's them. I don't even know which Georgia team you pick at that point,
Well, yeah, that's a whole nother
but it's them, one of the
debate.
Georgia teams in LSU in terms of the modern teams. Because Bama, as much of a dynasty as Bama's been, I feel like they've never had that team that just like kicked the crap out of everybody. And like was just generation. I know they've put in a lot of NFL talent, but I just don't think they've had the teams that have scared the level these three have.
So do you not have a Bama team on here?
I don't have any Bama. The three teams I wrote down the '01 Hurricanes, I wrote down the '04 Trojans, and I wrote down 19 LSU.
See, so the Trojans, I agree with you. I forgot to put them on. I put '05 Texas, which
I was
looking back.
I was thinking about them too, but the '04 Trojans, I feel like if I had to pick one of the two of them, that '04 Trojans team was just unbelievable.
Looking back, I don't know if that '05 Texas team is as good. '04 Trojans definitely better. They were especially like they were a dynasty.
They were unbelievable.
Lionel
I
was
mean,
untouchable.
I know a lot of the guys didn't end up that great in the NFL, but the amount of talent they put into the NFL was just absurd. The running back, the tandem of Lendell White and Bush was untouchable.
I did put the 2020 Alabama Crimson Tide though, because looking at the NFL talent that was on that team,
Yeah,
the receiving group alone, obviously Henry Ruggs aside,
the
now in the
receiving
NFL,
group is
the
that
receiving
was
group is next
Devontae
level.
Smith, Jameson Williams. Who else was there?
Jerry Judy,
Judy,
and then Henry Ruggs.
and you had Mac Jones just told. I mean
No, it was Tua.
that was the two a year.
Tua, yeah. So it's hard to say. A lot of people think that 2020 Bama team would have beaten the 2019 LSU, which I happen to disagree with. I think that
That LSU team was just
Yeah.
that was one of those years where there wasn't a team in football that was gonna get in their way. They beat the crap out of everybody. And
Yeah.
the amount of NFL talent they put in, and not only put in that's playing at a high level, is insane.
and not to mention, well, let's get into 2019 LSU because I really want to put them ahead of the '01 Hurricanes, but that team,
The defense was they gave up 9 points a game. The offense was scoring 42 points a game. I think the last 4 games of the year they played 4 teams in the top 15. They outscored them like I think the number was I saw 125 to like 20 or something. Like they were not giving up points. They beat the crap out of Nebraska in the Rose Bowl. It was a dominant performance head to toe. That team was so good, and the Hall of Fame level talent they put in. That's the other thing you have to look at because like their careers are done at this point. Obviously, like the NFL, like it kind of factors how good the college football team was in a way. Also,
I was looking. I took a picture just to read off some of the names on this team because it was so insane. Just for starters, the running backs Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, and
Yeah.
Frank Gore,
all
three
three.
on the same team, which is absolutely unheard of. Then on defense, you've got Ed Reed at safety. His backup was Sean Taylor, who was
Yeah.
drafted 2 years later. He was a rookie in 2004. So put that into perspective now. This is
That was Sean Taylor's probably freshman and sophomore
Yeah,
year.
that's the depth this team is at. They've got Jeremy Shockey at tight end. They've got Andre Johnson at receiver. Jonathan Vilma, Bryant McKinney. There's a list is on. I think it
Absolutely
was
loaded.
17 NFL players.
Loaded NFL roster.
But let's look at the LSU roster, because I do think there are some comparisons to be made. Joe Burrow wins the quarterback position.
The problem is
the
in terms
debate
of like
between those
in
two
terms of
teams.
star power, it feels like the LSU team is going to have them beat. Burrow, Jamar Chase, Jefferson. Those three alone are
Burrow, Jamar, and Jefferson. I mean, now I'm talking. Obviously, Ken Dorsey aside, he was great in college.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow was light years ahead of him.
not even close. Yeah.
Joe Burrow, biggest Heisman margin of victory ever. Justin Jefferson is on pace, and this is early to say, but he's on pace to be one of the best receivers
He's
of all
on
time.
pace. He's on pace to be a top 5 receiver of all time.
Yeah.
If he continues to put up the number he's putting up, it's not even a debate. He's going to be a top 5 receiver of all time.
Jamar Chase is great. You had Terrace Marshall, who's NFL player, who was number 3. What's his name? Moss was the tight end.
Thaddeus Moss,
he
I
was
think it
good.
Yeah.
Who's running back on his team? Oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
NFL player. On defense, you had Patrick Queen, solid NFL
I
player.
don't think who else is on that deep.
Grant Delpit in the NFL
Yeah.
at safety. I mean, there's not a lot of weakness. The one thing about this team, though, it's not like, they were guys. Edo did a good job of recruiting these guys. Without Joe Burrow, do they come together with another quarterback? I don't know. The Miami team didn't matter who the quarterback was. Ken Dorsey didn't win in those games.
Well, that's what I was
Joe
going to say.
Burrow
Ken Dorsey was
won a lot of
not the
those
reason that they were putting up 42 points
Right.
a game. They were just that loaded. The defense
Right.
was that good. Because I bet if you looked at those games, I want to know how many defensive touchdowns they had that year, legitimately. Because I bet they scored
I am out for
a
sure.
lot, like almost like the Georgia defense a few years ago. Like they were just scoring almost every game.
Yeah.
I feel like it was on that level. And Georgia to me is interesting because they don't have the names. I feel like, but they've had the dominance, which is weird. Like they don't have the star power going into the draft. Like again, Stetson Bennett, we all know how good he was in college. Just not the. No one's really going to talk about his career for some. Like he's going to fall. Like people are going to forget about him eventually. And even though how good he was, he's going to be forgotten about. They're going to talk about the Georgia teams. They're not really going to talk about Stetson Bennett that much. I feel like.
But now, if they three-peat, what are we talking about there? If Georgia three-peats, which I don't want to say it's they're the favorite going into the year, right? It's not. It's
It's interesting because obviously a lot of players from Georgia left. New quarterback's gonna be interesting because Stetson Bennett, as much as I just said, people are gonna forget about him. He was the heart and soul of that team. They went as he went. I think they're still the favorite because I just think Kirby Smart, to me right now, is the best coach in college football. When you have that and when I've just the culture that they've developed, I think they're easily the favorites because they're going to replace talent no matter what. They're Georgia. At this point, they have 5 stars coming out of their ass. So I think they have to be the favorite. I don't know who you're going to put behind them. I mean, Clemson's an interesting discussion because I think with Klubnik, I think they're easily back in the conversation.
Yeah.
The ACC is not that good. You have to figure they're going to capitalize. Dabo Swinney always, after a down year, I feel like they always bounce back. So that's one of those teams I'm looking out for also.
LSU, I think, is out there. But before we'll get into a little bit of that, our early championship predictions later. But I want to just give you quickly the last couple teams I had here on my greatest of all time team list because this is a fun one to talk about. I did put the 2008 Florida Gators, crime and all.
That documentary, I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll talk
very
about that too.
excited about that coming out. But you think they're in the conversation?
Think about the talent. First of all, I have no problem saying this on camera. Tim Tebow is the greatest college football player I've ever seen, and maybe of all time.
You're looking at Tim Tebow's #1 fanboy. If it existed in a person, this would be his #1 fan.
No, it's true. But the body of work is second to none. Yeah, I mean, he could run, he could throw. Tim Tebow.
You know what was the song?
Yeah, there was a song back in the day. But just all encompassing, he was everybody's favorite player. People said he couldn't throw. He was throwing the ball all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, That team was really good. I mean, Aaron Hernandez, may he rest in peace. I know he did something bad,
I don't
but
think you can say that.
well,
Yeah.
listen, Riley Cooper. You had they had a loaded roster. Percy Harvin. Who was on the defense? That's what I'm trying to remember.
Brandon Spikes, I think, was the big player on defense. He
Brandon Spikes ended up having a
career
very
with
good
the
NFL
Patriots.
career.
Yeah.
He's a coach now with the Patriots, I think.
Yeah. The Pouncey brothers on the
Um,
offensive line both went to the
both
NFL.
of them.
So it's a lot of NFL players, and what's his name? Jeff Demps at running back, who was like the fastest man to ever live. He's a gold medalist for the USA.
I
Olympic
forgot
team.
about Jeff Demps. He never made it. He tried to play in the NFL, I remember, but that never really amounted to anything. I forgot about him.
And I feel like they had somebody that said, "Oh, was Elam the safety?" I don't know if he was a good safety. I don't know if he made it to the NFL.
Elam, no, he definitely got to the NFL.
So, and Urban Meyer at the helm. That's another thing talking about. For all I love about Edo and his ability to build a team, he probably is not the best coach.
No.
So that's a big knock.
Again, Edo without that team, he's probably fired the year before.
Yeah, listen, he's a motivator. He's a recruiter.
He is not
good.
Not a good head coach.
I don't know how to describe. Yeah, it's. I love the guy to death. Would love to have him on this show.
I think he would be a great defensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know if he wants to get.
That's what he's built for.
I don't know if he wants to get back into it, but I think he'd be a great defensive coordinator somewhere. He is not a head coach.
Players love him. He's recruited some of the best players of all time. Not a great head coach. Now, to counter that, the 01 Hurricanes, I think their coach was Larry Coker. Not really known very well. Not talked about.
Again, a lot of those teams, it's not. But that's what makes Georgia interesting, is because they have the talent and the coach.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm getting back to. That's why my point I was making was 08 Florida had Urban Meyer, who I do think is one of the best coaches.
Controversy aside, he is definitely one of the best coaches of all time, I think.
A lot of controversy. Now
that Florida that documentary is going to be incredible. That one, and then they have the Manziel one coming out too. I think Netflix is doing both. I'm excited for both those.
Well, what I'm excited to hear about the 08 Florida documentary is I want to hear, obviously, hearing Tebow talk about his teammates who have gone on to do some horrendous things. Is going to be interesting.
I'm curious to see.
I want to hear them talk about everything that happened. I want to hear Tebow talk about Urban Meyer. Honestly, the whole team. Because now that you're thinking about it, what players can they really have on this? You got to have Tebow.
They're gonna have Riley Cooper on there.
It's going to be controversial.
I know it's going to be, but you have to. This is the kind of thing they have to have these people on there because they have to answer for what happened and what went on.
Yeah, the Pouncey twins. Were they twins or brothers? I think just brothers.
I don't know if they're twins, yeah.
Brothers, I don't think they did anything too bad. There was some altercation at a nightclub. I remember it happening. They didn't get in too much trouble, but they did come out. I want to say they came out defending Aaron Hernandez at some point along the timeline of that case. But there's, aside from the main ones we all know about, there's a ton of misdemeanor charges against guys in that team. So it's going to be an unbelievable documentary. And then the Johnny Manziel one.
That I'm extremely excited for, because that was, you talk about, and I want to bring up the generational college quarterbacks list I made. He's easily one of them in the last decade.
You did put him.
You have to, but the thing is, everyone thought he was going to be so good in the NFL, and then it just amounted to nothing. I don't know if it was where he went. I don't know if it was his off the field stuff. I feel like you ask me, you going to Cleveland, it's just a downfall. So I don't know if it was that, but I want to see the story behind all of that, because I feel like there's so much that we don't know about him.
And I posted a couple TikToks on our page about Johnny talking on podcasts from the last few years, and he's very regretful.
From what I've seen in his social media, and everything, it seems like he's very thankful for where he is now, and any opportunities. I know he's played in these random leagues. He played in that flag football league, I know.
Yeah, the fan control league.
The fan control league. He's played in a few things, but
did you realize this story? That I never realized this story until I heard him on his podcast. He was playing for the Browns, and he had a Dennis Rodman, I need a break. So he flew to Vegas. He was at the I didn't know the story. He flew the
it makes sense.
He was at the tables he wore a disguise, so no one noticed him. But a guy at the table with him saw his ID when he handed it to the dealer.
Yeah.
So he I believe the story was that the guy was an MLB reporter, or linked it to an MLB reporter.
Yeah.
That broke the news that Johnny Football Saturday was in Las Vegas, and then would fly back late Sunday, and then not. I don't have no memory of this coming out.
That is why I don't remember that at all.
Spoke about that on this podcast, and I posted that clip on our TikTok, and it was met with so much hate from, I don't know if they're Cleveland fans, but people are not.
No,
over
they
Johnny
don't.
Manziel.
They don't take kindly to him. And look, I get it. He was supposed to be the savior. Things didn't go the way they were supposed to. But again, Cleveland. I forgive me for saying this, but a lot of the times it seems like Cleveland is the problem. You look at Baker Mayfield. He had a little bit of a short stint of success last year in LA. Cleveland always seemed to be an issue. I mean, I don't know. Deshaun Watson, all pro quarterback,
Yep.
didn't look too good last year. I don't know if it's Cleveland. I don't know if it's the players, but look, something's going on over there.
There's a lot to not like about Cleveland. There's the weather's bad.
Well, Joe Kim Noah once said, I don't know anybody that likes going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
You
And
went
then-
you went to Cleveland one
listen,
time.
The Zinders went to Cleveland on vacation one time, and we had a great time. But I can see why a big time quarterback would not want to go there, and they had no talent around them. But you brought up the generational quarterbacks again. This was another debate I saw on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear. I have well, we said the last decade, right?
Last decade.
So I have like 6 or 7 names and then a question mark, kind of.
So this is the last 10 years, right? And I was trying to be very picky about this because in my mind, I'm saying there can't be that many generational talents. So I ended up just picking 3.
What do you got?
My first one I picked is Lamar Jackson because I think that he's a next level talent. The ability to run and throw that he has, the crazy arm strength, the crazy speed. He's a once in a generation player.
I too have Lamar. I think that was the easiest. Like, you can't even debate that one.
Yeah, body of work on the field. He played on a not so great team, Heisman, and he's translated to the NFL. So I think a guy like that with the arm talent and the speed he's got is generational.
You talk. I think he easily, of the quarterbacks I have in this list, he was on the worst team. It's not even close.
Yeah. For sure.
And he got them to. I don't know if they ever cracked the top 10. I remember the big game against Clemson. I think they might have been in the top 10 for that one. That big game against Clemson on a Saturday night against Deshaun Watson. That was just an incredible game. But that was really like the peak of Lou because that was a bad roster. There was really no help for him. Mekhi Becton, but other than that, I don't even remember who else was on that team.
Yeah, no, that was it. And then maybe had a receiver or two.
Probably, yeah. I mean, maybe receiver too. But I mentioned Deshaun Watson. I have him on my list. I don't know if you had him on your list also.
I didn't, but I would have considered him. He didn't come to mind. But
just in terms of what he accomplished at Clemson, and pure talent, I think he's one of the best arm talents that has come out of college in recent years.
Yeah, and he played on some of the best teams Clemson had. A lot of great moments. I still think the guy I put Trevor Lawrence.
I have him. I have both
I
of
think
them.
Trevor Lawrence is
well,
better.
I have more names than you, but yeah, I have Trevor also.
So let me read my 3 first,
Go.
and then you go into yours. I put 3 for specific reasons. I put Lamar because he is all around, I think, the best athlete we've seen in the last generation of quarterbacks. I put Trevor Lawrence because I think he's all around the best quarterback we've seen. Arm strength, overall.
On my list, I think he is. It's possible. Well, we'll see. I'll get to it.
Yeah,
but go.
and then my last quarterback I put was Joe Burrow because I think that he's a once in a generation player in terms of the poise.
So you didn't put Johnny Manziel on this list?
I did not put Johnny Manziel, no, because when you look at Johnny Manziel didn't win. I mean, he didn't win a national title.
The Heisman and I feel like the on the field moments. Lamar didn't win the national title.
Yes, but Lamar is.
I think Lamar is better than Manziel, but I feel like your list needs more than 3 quarterbacks.
Well, I was trying to be stingy because if you're talking about once in a generation, like I saw some guys on Twitter, some guy said Jameis Winston. I mean, there's no way.
He's easily a top 10 quarterback of the last decade if you want to look at it that way.
If you break it down, you think he's in the top 10?
Yeah. I think Jameis, and I think they barely didn't make my list. Like in terms of, I wrote down like 6 or 7 names that I just thought were like easily the best of this last decade.
Right, tell me what you have.
I have Lamar, Watson, Manziel, Trevor. I wrote down Baker because people forget how good his numbers actually are. I know Oklahoma just puts up a crap ton of points. You look at Baker's college numbers and they're out of this world. Kyler, I have a question mark next to because he's one of those dual threat quarterbacks that really just broke college football at one point. Burrow I have, and then honestly, and I'm gonna say it now, I think might end up better than all of them. I have Caleb Williams on this list already.
Wow.
What he did last year, and especially in that, I know they lost. Didn't they lose that bowl game?
They lost it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plays he made in that game and some of the throws he made with half the team wasn't even playing. That was another storyline of that game. I think he is going to break college football this year completely. That's a team I want to talk about in terms of I think they could be up their national title. I think Caleb Williams is already there and is ascending into what he's going to be a generational quarterback.
In terms of talent, I would agree with you.
I think he might be the most talented on the list already.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't put him on because it's only been 1 year. The Oklahoma year.
I just have him on because I think he's headed in that trajectory.
Yeah, I agree. I can't put because if we're talking generational, I feel like I can't have 10 guys on the list. That's why like
No, I get what you're
a
saying.
guy like Jameis, I left it to 3 guys. The Kyler pick to me is interesting. I don't Kyler and Baker are weird ones to me because
I think you forget how good those Oklahoma teams were because their defense was so bad.
Yeah, that's true too.
Baker they were a stop away from getting the national title.
Yeah.
If you don't remember that one against Georgia, they couldn't stop that end around, and they were a stop away from playing the national title game.
Yeah. And they both won the Heisman.
Kyler, I get the hate on, but Baker, I think people forget how good he actually was in college because of how bad he ended up being in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Again,
I guess
another
my
situation.
thing is like when I think about, I think the 3 guys that I put are just so far above on that
Yes,
list.
no, I would
why
agree with
put
that.
them in the generational. Like I think I picked the one guy who's the freak athlete, the one guy who's all around I think the best, and then I picked Joe Burrow, who I think has the poise, the football IQ. Coach O used to say he was the smartest guy in the room, every room he was in.
The hard part about Burrow, like I have to put him on the list, but the hard part about Burrow is just the 1 year thing. Because like he just
Well, it was technically 2 years.
he did play 2 years, but like nobody even had nobody remembered him from
Yeah.
Ohio State when he was playing that 1 year out. But then all of a sudden in 2019, 2020, all hell broke loose with that team. I don't know what happened overnight with that team, but it really is something to say. But I do think Caleb Williams is going to. I think he's going to take over college football this year. If he didn't already last year, I think he's going to again this year.
Yeah, and you know we talked about the Pac-12 before. They beat up on each other a lot. So if they
That's the problem. He needs to survive they need to survive Utah. I think that's always the bugaboo. I mean that seems to really always be the problem is Utah.
Oregon, there's a lot in the mix in the Pac-12 this year, so I think that's
Because if they beat Utah in the Pac-12 title game, the playoff we were looking at could have been very different. I don't know how different, but it could have been very different.
Yeah, that's true.
The video game. I wanted to discuss this a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what the story's gonna be.
You know, I saw somebody have a take on this, and I started to agree with them. I don't care if names are in the game anymore.
No, nobody cares.
Because a year or two into the game, all those players are going to be gone, and I'm going to have the people I recruit anyway. So I used to like care so much about having the players' names in the game. I don't think it matters to me at all at this point.
Here's the thing with this debate.
And again, I want the players to get paid. They deserve to get what they deserve. But if their names aren't in the game, I'm not going to be upset about it.
Here's my thing. The supposed price that each player was getting paid for this to be in this game was $500, which for some players is more than they'll make in their like the punter on Western Michigan.
The problem is that
they're going to make that much
the
money
problem is the higher end players.
Right. So a guy like Caleb Williams has all the leverage in this situation. He could ask for whatever he wants because they need him in the game the most.
Yeah, but some guy like I forget what the name was of the guy that used to download. I think it was like Pasta Padre or something.
Yeah.
He'll download the entire roster, and God bless these guys. They'll do every single school, every single player from kicker down to the fourth string. Somebody will do it if their names aren't in the game anyway. So I feel like the players at this point should just realize your name is going to get into that game no matter what. You might as well just take the money.
Right. They should take whatever they can get because the NCAA and I guess if they don't get paid, it'll turn into a lawsuit, which would be a whole nother.
No, of course.
You know.
And I don't I know they're bigger players, but I just don't think that they should get more because once you're in the game, that's kind of it. Like you're not making extra money by people playing with you or something. Like if someone plays with Caleb Williams more or whatever, you're not going to get per game played or something like that. So that's why I think it should be the same no matter what. Should it be a little higher? Maybe, but again, a lot of these guys are third string, fourth string walk-ons that are never going to see the field. This is going to be the best day of their life.
And EA can't do a Caleb Williams gets $1 million deal and then different prices for every player.
No,
it's going to be too crazy.
Yeah, they would have to go no names at that point. Completely go no names.
But in terms of features I want to see, I saw a great list on this online that the first thing that I think is not possible.
Yeah.
For a lot of the reasons that we already mentioned, but the FCS being in the game and the ability to kind of use them in a season.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of players, a lot of teams, a lot of rosters, and a lot more. $500 more to every player that has.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. You have to pay another entire section of the NCAA, which is
now the game will make that money.
Oh yeah, not even close. But that would never. I would love that, but that would never happen. I don't know if I'm looking for any new features. Like, I just like the online dynasty, the dynasty mode. Like that was like the best stuff. I know like they used to have the Heisman moments. Those were always kind of cool. Road to Glory. I kind of got tired of it as the years got on because it just felt like too easy, to be honest. So I guess maybe a little revamp to that somehow, some way.
Well,
maybe maybe you get to like be on campus or something like that, like a little bit more in depth.
They could do a big NIL type thing in terms of Road to Glory and in terms of the recruiting for Dynasty.
Oh, like where you're getting offered money and things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they definitely can do a lot more with it because like it was very straightforward. Like you played your high school games, you went to the college, and you just played the college games. That was pretty much the old path. I think they could definitely fine tune it at this point. It's been how long? It's been a decade since we've played the last game.
Right. And next year is supposed to be our 2024 playoff expansion. So it would be very cool to get the 12-team playoff in that game as well.
Well, yeah, if they're waiting for that, that's probably the one thing they're waiting for. That would definitely be cool too to get the whole playoff. It would be something interesting. I'm thinking about would be like, what if there was a throwback BCS mode where you could like play a dynasty mode, but like it's under the BCS rules.
Yeah, I would like that.
And,
Although
like,
the
it's
last game would have been like we just that's like play the old game.
No, of course,
Yes.
but like like a nice little throwback mode, something
Yeah.
like that to have it.
I'm not
that
gonna
would
put
be
the old
cool.
teams in. That's always good.
Yeah, I forgot they started doing that. That would be nice if they keep that going. That would be good because you have a lot of teams from the last decade that you never got to play with to begin with, and I'm sure they would have in there. All those Alabama teams. That's the interesting because that game kind of stopped when Alabama, that dynasty, like really got rolling. So they were never like they were good a few years in that game, but you weren't really the dynasty known. But I'm just excited to get the game back, to be honest.
Let's got a Twitter question
What do you got?
for the pod. How would we assemble the ultimate college football offense? What players would we have? Just skill positions. We can say offensive lineman too, I guess. On offense, who we taking? And I guess it goes back to generational talent. Who you taking at quarterback?
This is all time.
Yeah.
It might be Cam Newton.
Ooh, that's it.
We didn't say him because he was 2010. We didn't mention that at all.
Fall into our generational.
I think it might be Cam Newton. And I know you like Tebow over Newton. I know you're gonna say Tebow,
Yeah.
but I think that season was just so dominant. I think it's got to be Cam Newton.
I don't know if there's one guy I need to win a game. Am I going Tebow or am I going Joe Burrow?
I see here, and I love Joe Burrow. He's a great NFL quarterback, obviously, but I don't take Joe Burrow because that offense was so loaded that it's hard to. I need to see what he would have done with less because, like, I know Tebow, they had good players there too, but I think those teams were just so much less talented than LSU, especially Auburn. Can you tell me any of those receivers at this point?
They had the tight end, Lights and Grunin or whatever his name was.
And who was the running back? I can't
Michael
remember his name.
Dyer.
Yeah, Michael Dyer. Other than that, I don't remember a player on that team.
No, it's true, and we know how good Cam was. Give me two running backs.
It's Reggie Bush and Reggie Bush is the easy one to answer. Like there's not any college football running back question. Reggie Bush is always 1A.
I would choose Reggie as well. The second one sucks. I think it might be someone before our time. If we have to put someone who's like
Adrian Peterson is up there.
Yes, he's definitely in the top 5.
I'm
trying to think more recent years. There's not really one that stands out. All those Bama running backs were really good.
Ingram, they were just that was a revolving door though. Right. They would all play their one good year and then they were out the door. Who do you have?
I'll go Reggie, and then I'd have to go maybe back to like a Herschel Walker or a Bo Jackson because those were like of that generation. Those were the two great.
Yeah, I mean, Reggie is easily the lead back. I think, and
yeah.
It's not even a debate at that point. Receiver is interesting.
Let's say you got to take 3. Would you put Chase or Jefferson on there? One of them, I think, has to make
Jefferson.
It. Jefferson is, yeah.
Jefferson.
Odell, maybe. Odell was pretty crazy in college.
No, I'm probably going one of the Bama guys. I just don't know who.
Oh,
Julio.
Julio. Yeah, that's so hard. AJ Green comes to
AJ mind. Green was an animal in college. I'm trying to think who else.
I think I might throw Odell in there. The Bama guys, Julio was great. Shout out to Marquise Mays.
Crabtree.
Oh, I'm putting Crabtree.
I just in terms of like from a personal standpoint, I think Crabtree is easily
his body of work at Texas Tech. That game against Texas.
No, and even his first few years in the NFL, he was a top 10 receiver in the league for a legitimate point of time. Tight end is interesting.
I feel like Gronk was good, but not good enough to be on this list.
No, Gronk was because he was a mid-round pick. No one was really talking about him.
I don't want to say it, but it might be Aaron Hernandez.
It's funny. It might be him. A guy like OJ Howard.
Yeah, he
dominated at Alabama.
And I honestly, you know what? I'm actually gonna change. I'm taking Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Brock Bowers
and he's
is it.
still isn't he still there?
Yeah, he's still
Yeah,
there.
I have nightmares about Brock Bowers running free in that national title game still.
And they're saying he might be a top. I mean, it's probably not gonna happen, but a top 5 pick for a tight end would be so crazy.
Who was there? Wasn't there an early one this year or like last year or something?
Never a top 5.
Kyle Pitts was the earliest,
8. Yeah, I think he was 8.
and he didn't have that. Like he was more of like just a prospect because I didn't think he had that great of a college career. Yeah, tight end is kind of rough. That's kind of wide open, I think.
Yeah. And then I mean, we'll get into defense another day because defense is a whole nother.
No, but I mean, I
ball
think
game.
by far and away, I think Reggie Bush is the easiest pick to ever put on a skill. I just think his career
Yes.
was that good.
And people will be happy to know if you don't know already, he did get his Heisman back.
They gave it back to him.
Gave it back to him, yes. Once
Finally.
once the NIL stuff happened, he got it back. He willingly gave it back. By the way, once everything came
Well,
out,
I feel like you have because you can't really fight
he
that.
was like, if it's out of the history books, he's giving the actual trophy back.
Yeah,
So he sent it back, packed it up, and sent it back to the Heisman Fund or Heisman Trust.
yeah,
He's got it back now. So
that's good. That is one of the more well deserved stories.
yeah.
Is it time to get into our
Well, first I got to give out C-Pomp on Twitter asked us to give us our
shout
futures.
out to my cousin? He did ask for some futures. I don't have any. I didn't prepare for you. I'm sorry, but
I
my
wanna
friend
get-
Eddie here.
I want to get the exact odds because this is actually one I really like. So I've been digging heavy this offseason into the mid majors. I've been diving into the Conference USA, and for people that don't realize this, if in the summer, if you study these low level conferences like the Conference USA, the MAC, you're gonna see a ton of undervalued teams and lines that don't make sense
Because no one's paying attention.
by week 4 or week 5 because some of these teams are pretty talented and the level of the gap from top to bottom in some of these conferences is just insane. So my first future that I think I'm actually going to put in because it's a wide open conference in my opinion.
What do you got?
Louisiana Tech to win the Conference USA. I think it's like plus 800, plus 1200 around there somewhere.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say loaded, but for the Conference USA, they're pretty loaded.
Louisiana Tech loaded.
They just brought in our buddy Hank Bachmeier from Boise State at quarterback.
Oh my! I cannot stand that
So,
guy. The fact that he's
listen.
not at Boise State is a blessing because I can calmly bet on them again.
He was very bad his last couple of years, but he brings a veteran leader to Louisiana Tech that had no quarterback last year. They're an offense that throws a lot.
To a worse conference, so maybe he'll be better.
Right. The talent level it's a big drop off in talent. They brought in a lot of guys in the transfer portal. They've got a lot of guys coming back, and this is a conference that's pretty wide open. They have Liberty at the top. Liberty's got no quarterback. They've got Western Kentucky. You know, Austin Reed is back. They're probably right now the favorite to win. I haven't checked. They're probably the favorite to
So
win.
Louisiana Tech is the.
Take their win total and them to win the Conference USA. I think there's a shot.
Have you
At
seen
the-
their win total? What is it?
I want to say it's like 5.5 or 6. At the very least, you're going to get Louisiana Tech in a couple big upsets this year. They could definitely beat one of the two, Liberty or Western Kentucky, and they'll be like a touchdown dog against both of those.
Well, Liberty lost. What's his face, right?
Malik Willis.
And no, not Malik, the
Oh,
coach.
yes, Hugh Freeze.
Hugh
Yeah,
Freeze left, so they
Yeah.
lost Willis a year ago. But losing
Right.
Hugh Freeze is massive for them because he changed the complete trajectory of that entire university.
yeah, and they're a good team, but that's an offense that needs a good quarterback, and that was kind of their problem. Do you remember their season last year, Liberty?
Vaguely,
They were like 7 or 8-0, and then the rumors came out about Hugh Freeze going to Ole Miss,
Mhm.
and they lost out.
I remember the bowl. I feel like I faded them in the bowl game, but they might have won because I assumed that he's gone. So like that's that natural. Oh,
I'm
no
pretty-
coach, no
I'm pretty sure
problem.
They lost it too, but that's an offense that needs a good quarterback. They don't have one. It's a wide open conference. The Conference USA. Take a look at the Conference USA. There's a lot of money to be made looking through that conference. My other future that I love is Clemson to win it all.
So you're picking Clemson to win it all. That's your.
I'm
you're
not
putting-
picking. I'm not picking them to win it all.
But you think it's good
The
value.
is
Okay.
is great. I think they're around the 800 range for a team like that, which probably the best coach defense in the league.
We know how good of a coach Dabo is. I think last year was more of just and I used to love him, but DJ Uiagalelei ended up being just so terrible.
Right. Cade Klubnik is a big upgraded quarterback. He's going to have the whole year. He had the whole offseason to prep. He got some good work in last year. And this is a team. Dabo does not believe in a transfer portal. He's good with his guys. He sticks with them. It's a blessing and a curse. It could turn out to be great. It could turn out to be bad, but he's showing he's got confidence in his players, which I like. So I don't hate it. They should. I mean, Florida State is a very very good team this year. That's their biggest competition in the ACC. The rest of it, they can take care of pretty easily, I think.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think Clemson's definitely going to be one of the teams that if like when we pick our playoff four, I think they're going to be one of the teams I probably have in there. Just 'cause I
Yeah.
think the ACC has a little bit of a fall off. But we'll see how that goes.
And those are my two. As we get into our conference previews, I'm gonna have more
Well, yeah,
futures
no, there'll
to
be a boatload
throw
more
out, but
futures
yeah,
as
those are the two for right now.
as we go. But definitely, I think the Louisiana Tech one's interesting. As much as I hate Bachmeyer, I'm so happy he's out of Boise State. He ruined me so many times last year. I picked
I
them a
know.
lot.
Was it the first game last year? He was terrible.
They were one of my.
Week
I had
0 or
them
week 1.
like play the week or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. All right, so let's get into our top 10.
Top 10 songs.
Yeah, red shirts tradition here. We love doing our rankings. We're ending it with the top 10. We're in the middle of summer. It's July 8th. We're hitting you with our top 10 summer songs. You're gonna hate my list.
I'll let you go first. This is usually how we go. But I was very confused as to what
So in
you wanted me to do, but I think I got it.
my mind, when we're talking the top 10 songs of the summer, I'm talking like the top 10 songs I like to hear in the summer, like my good vibe, like backyard party, outside at the bar, songs you want to hear.
Yeah. Okay. I get what
Like
you're saying.
if I hear these in the winter, I'm like, I wish it was hot out. All right, number 10. You're gonna hate this one so much.
Go.
My
go.
number 10
Go, what
song
do you
of the
got?
summer
Oh boy.
is "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
No. No.
Because
What?
if you're at a bar, if you're down the shore at an outside bar, and you hear the the place goes crazy. Absolutely wild. Christmas in July is a great theme for a party. Whoever invented that, wonderful idea.
It's look. That's one of my favorite Christmas songs. Actually I feel like I discredited this one, but that's not the song of the summer. Come on.
No, not the song of the summer,
A
but it's
top
the
10
top
one?
10. You tell me you wouldn't like to hear it at a bar in the summer?
It's kind of fun to hear at the bar, but
Yeah.
there's so many other songs I feel like I'd rather
In the
hear.
moment, I'll take a video of when Tony hears it at the next time we're out. He'll go crazy. Number 9, I gotta go "Take Me Home Country Roads." I mean, I like this song all time of this year, but like summer, "Take Me Home Country Roads."
I didn't
gotta
put that
love it.
one, but that is a good one. I
Uh,
didn't put that.
Number 8, and this is one of my favorite music videos of all time. We got Rob Thomas and Santana, "Smooth."
That is a good summer song.
the video,
I forgot about
the
that.
video, they're at a block party. Uh, I mean, that's just a fantastic summer song. The video got the fire hydrants going off in the block party. Reminds me of being outside in the summer. Number 7, this is like the staple summer song, "Wagon Wheel."
I have Wagon Wheel.
But
I do have Wagon
the old
Wheel.
Crow Medicine version, not the Darius Rucker version. It's a little more country. They got the violins going, the fiddle.
Disrespecting Darius Rucker in the middle of the summer.
No, I love
That
Darius
is
Rucker.
criminal.
Well, he did also say no to our request to come on the podcast last year. So we'll
He-
try again.
He's
in
he's
this
an
September,
NFL guy.
Darius,
He's a
but,
Dolphins fan.
We'll see what happens. Number 6, "American Girl." It's a little 4th of July.
I was thinking about
barbecue
that one.
song. It came on at Mike Taverna's house, so I had to throw it on there. It also reminds me when we saw the Google Dolls at concert in Belmont. They played "American Girl," so that's a nice little summer.
I always forget that they perform there. That's like one of the most random things
Yeah, I know.
that
It
we
was a great concert.
ever ran, but it was cool. That's like one of the most random things we ever ended up at.
Yeah. Number 5, I got Little Uncle Kracker, "Follow Me."
I forgot about that.
I was
one.
gonna put Uncle. You
I
got you
did
gotta have
forget
an
about
Uncle
that
Kracker
one.
on there. I chose that one.
My list is a weird mix compared to yours.
I
It's a
chose
very
that one. I
strange
think
mix.
it's the best vibe song he's got. Number 4 is my classic "Sitting on the Beach" song, "Santeria." You gotta have a
I have
Sublime.
I have Santeria
You
on
gotta
there.
have a Sublime song on the list.
I was gonna just write anything by Sublime
Yeah,
because I know it's
anything by
acceptable.
Sublime. The whole album, 40 Ounces of Freedom, the whole album can go on this list. Number 3, and this, my dad's gonna hate me for this. This should be number 1. Number 3, I have "Thunder Road." Just
Is that a summer song though? I think it's a great song. I'm not
well,
debating that.
I listen to it all times of the year.
That's
but
what I'm saying.
listening to it with the windows rolled down as you're driving is in the summer is next level.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Bruce Springsteen. Love that song. I don't know if it's like a summer. You said summer bar song. That's not a summer bar song.
No, they're not gonna play it at a bar.
No chance they're playing Down the Road at the bar.
If they did, it would be. I would go ape shit. Number 2, I'm going Jack and Diane. This song reminds me of being at Bordy Barn, which is one of my favorite places to be in the summer. Haven't been able to.
I
do
feel
so.
like I didn't put either of them, but I feel like Pink Houses is more of a.
You got to have one
I
John
think
Mellencamp on there.
I think Pink Houses would be more of a summer song than Jack and Diane.
No, I would have gone Hurt So Good over Pink Houses. They're all.
I mean, they're all
yeah,
they're all
they're all-
good, but
they're all
that's
great.
that's a take.
But Jack and Diane makes you want to like die and be reincarnated as like the quarterback in a small town Texas high school town.
You wish you were playing for the Dillon Panthers, pretty much.
Yeah, basically. And my number one summer song is Semi Charmed Life, Third Eye Blind. Now, this song reminds me of I love this whole album is great. One of my favorite albums of all time. Saw them in concert over the summer. The whole album is good summer vibes. It reminds me of the last scene of American Pie when the whole cast, the four guys are eating at the diner
Mhm.
and they're talking about, they're going away to college. It's kind of a sad scene. The song plays. Reminds me of the summer.
That's a good one. So how I did this year, I kind of have like 5 songs I like to listen to in the summer, and then 5 that were songs of like basically songs of the summer that when we were growing up. So I'm
Alright.
gonna go 5 and 5 here. So there's 5 songs that I enjoy hearing. I got Wagon Wheel 5, Chicken Fried 4.
Oh, I didn't put any Zach Brown
I,
band on.
I was surprised you didn't have any
Yeah,
Zach Brown.
wow.
Chicken Fried 4, All Summer Long by Kid Rock 3.
That's a good one.
Another Zach Brown, Knee Deep 2 I have, and then I put Santeria 1 because like every time I hear Santeria, I just feel like, oh, it's nice weather.
Yeah.
It could be raining and I'll hear Santeria and I'll feel like, oh my god, it's beautiful out.
I'm mad I didn't put any Zach Brown.
I thought you would have more Zach Brown. Knee Deep is easily like my favorite one, just because, and you get Jimmy Buffett, Zach
Yeah.
Brown. That's a great
I
summer
know.
combo.
That's a miss by me.
Before I get into the songs of the summer, I wanted like the 5 songs of the summer. I honorable mention California Girls,
Which one?
the Katy Perry version. Come on, like
Oh,
this is when we were growing up.
Wait, but what was your like? How did you decide these were the song they came out? You checked when they came out? Like,
No, like I just remember like growing up, like
Oh,
I'm
alright.
I'm gonna say one of these, and you're gonna say, oh wow, that was my song of the summer. I
yeah,
guarantee it.
I guess you.
So honorable mention, I said California Girls. I put Call Me Maybe because like that song took over. I don't remember what summer that was, but
Yeah,
that
it
took
did.
over. I Got a Feeling and Party Rock Anthem. Though that was my honorable mention of that group.
Oh, those are honorable mentions. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Okay.
then, in terms of top 5, Cheerleader. Like
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah.
you were that song
summer
had a
of 20
chokehold on Eddie Zinzer.
Summer of 2015.
Cheerleader easily. Another one I think I had was it 4 Despacito. That
Yep.
I think that was
Big one.
2017 or 2018.
Yeah.
Drake and My Feelings that took over the summer that year with the dance craze and the video and
That's
everything.
Kiki, would you Love- Would You
Yes. Number 2, Jersey Shore classic also, Pitbull. I like it.
That's a good. Pick.
That's
a really good pick.
I want to hear that at the bar. I want to hear that when I'm in the car. That is the perfect summer song. And then number 1, people forget this was a song of summer. Blurred Lines.
That song has left such a bad taste. in my
You
mouth.
don't like Blurred
It
Lines?
was played so much.
All these songs,
over and over
all of
again.
these songs, but Blurred Lines to this day, I love hearing that song.
Was Closer a song of the summer? It felt
Yes,
like it was a little after the summer.
Closer was a song that was
That's-
like on the list of
That
songs I
deserves
was
to be
looking
thrown
at.
in the mix. That reminds me of Legends.
What would your if you had to
20%.
give me some modern ones like how I did it?
Well,
what
I would definitely have Cheerleader on there. I would definitely put Closer because Closer was like the bar song of whatever that was. That summer 2017, summer 2018,
something like that, yeah.
whatever the summer.
Well,
we were
I
on
forget
Legends.
I forget what year
Yeah.
that was.
And I feel like there's got to be a better Drake song. There was another
One Dance was
One
20
Dance,
that
yeah,
was
One Dance.
2015. That was 2016 I
Yeah.
think that was.
And how about those songs? I always forget the name. Like it was back-to-back summers. Bieber came out with a song with like DJ Khaled and that whole crew.
I'm the One.
I'm the One, and
I
there was
don't
another
remember
one
the
too.
other one.
Those come to mind.
You
What
know,
else?
Broccoli sticks out to me just because we used to hear that all the time
Yeah.
for some strange
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
But
That's a solid list.
no, I'm trying to think of more songs like along like that coexist with your list. Like I'm trying to think of like in that sense. I tried to look up the Bordy Barn playlist. Shout out Bordy Barn though. They're back under a different name.
Is
I
it a
f-
different name?
It,
I saw that
hold on, I gotta
Derek
find it.
was there. Shout out to Derek. He didn't have any stickers on him, so
It was
not
it's
interested,
like
honestly.
The Barnyard. It's called The Barnyard HB.
Yeah, I'm not interested. No
I
stickers.
mean, it
I'm
seems
out.
like it's the same concept though.
No stickers.
The same concept with no stickers. Like they're open Fridays and Saturdays 9 p.m. and then Sundays at 2 p.m.
Oh, not just Sundays.
Well, they only did Sundays. They didn't do Friday, Saturday nights. I feel like they
Border
used
Barn
to.
just Sundays only.
So there you go. They got
One
3
day a
days
week.
now. We'll have to
One
go
day
back.
a week. 12 Sundays of the year.
We'll have to go back. But that was just a little summer song rankings to kick. I know summer only just started. It is still only like the second, third week. So
What do you think? What's the song of this summer? I don't have one.
I don't listen to the radio anymore, so
I
it's
know there's nothing. Like when I'm going to work, I listen to the radio.
I
There's
just
nothing.
listen to the same like 30 songs every day of my life, pretty much, on repeat. Um, so next week, what are we thinking? Conference previews?
Well, yeah, we should get it going. I want to start. We'll start with the lower conferences, I guess. Right? I like
We should
diving
jam
into
pack
those.
those in one episode though, because
Yeah,
I'm not
you got like Conference
as
USA,
much as
MAC,
I
a bunch of those.
love the MAC. I'm not about to dedicate one. I mean, actually, the MAC might deserve it, but like
MAC deserves an
any
episode.
of the other conferences, I'm not about to dedicate a whole
Yeah,
episode to the Sun Belt.
the big ones, especially the Big 12. There's a lot to talk about. New teams, Texas and Oklahoma's last season in the Big 12. They need a lot of time.
And all the new teams in the Big 12. What is it?
Central Florida, Houston,
BYU, Houston. Yeah, Central Florida. The Big 12 is gonna be fun. TCU, we've got our work cut out for us this year. I'm excited for the TCU Colorado game, the first game of the year. I hope we give Deion Sanders a wake up call, but we'll see how that game
Me
goes.
too. There's a lot of good storylines though. Like Big 12, especially this year. That you got TCU's. How do they bounce back from last year?
There's
How do they
no,
repeat?
yeah. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. I cannot wait for it, but it's time we rolling out of here. What do you
Yeah,
think?
next week.
As
Back.
always, we'll see you guys next time.